When we lived up north, there was a lady in our ward who had chickens, and she grew them, and that's fine. I want to talk about the lady though. She had the longest arm hair I've ever seen anyone have, and
cool.
That includes like men, like everything, and like it's not. It's almost impressive to the point of it's like.
How many inches are we talking here?
Like here, like she'd move her hand through the air, and you'd like see it like some like kung fu master or something like that.
Like,
you know what
she's
I mean?
got like wings.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of chicken-like. She had a down.
Wow. That's feminism right there.
Hey, it's Alec. So just a heads up about this podcast episode. Patrick sounds like he's sitting directly underneath an air conditioning unit. If you don't like how it sounds, you can take it up with him, not my fault. Also, we are going to be out next week, so go ahead and check out some of our back catalog, or maybe watch an episode of Good Show. All right, enjoy. Hello, and welcome to the Bumpy Soup Podcast, an ACAB podcast, meaning assigned cute at birth. I'm Alec. I'm here today with Emily.
Yoo-hoo.
Aqua Supreme.
Bump it up.
From Salt Lake, Patrick.
Bling, bling. So, yeah.
And Shane. I'm so scared.
All right.
Let's see, what was that from?
It's my best interpretation of whatever the fuck that chick's saying in the Blair Witch.
Oh, okay, of course.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Easily identifiable. Being scared. Hey, well, I wanted to start off this podcast episode with a little bit of bumpy news.
Ooh.
So we kind of hinted at this earlier, but September 2nd, we are going to be at Far Out Fest in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, bump it up.
Hosting
Bump it up.
the Bumpy Lounge. So shout out to Far Out Cassette Club, to Nick. We're going to have a whole space set up where we're going to be showing the episodes, including an earlier sneak preview cut of Stoner Noir. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and be sure to head over there. It's a free event. It's awesome. It's in his backyard. It's been really, really cool every year. So yeah, Far Out Fest.
Far out.
Far Out.
Far out, man.
That's right.
Bump it up.
Not the one that's happening in Nashville, which happens to be happening at the same time.
Fake Fest.
Yeah.
Fake Fest. How's everyone doing today?
I'm good, man. Hot. Getting fucking cooked in the St. George heat.
It is hot.
It's hot. So, and I have an update on the vape juice, the ball juice vape juice situation. And it's anticlimactic and also a bummer for me.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
So I go
Okay.
and I get to see Chandler, who I've known for a very long time, since like probably high school. So like close to 10 years at this point.
Okay.
Really
Like
nice.
you guys went to school together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm here to get some juice. And he's like, oh, cool, man. It's good to see you. I do have some news. Like, we do not offer house juice anymore. We cannot make any juice.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Because there was ball juice in it.
It is because there was a complaint about... No. Unfounded complaint. It was... no, the FDA wanted too much money to certify them to be able to make their own juice in-house. Mm-hmm. So I was unable to get the Bloodsicle Extra Sickle vape juice. And so now we'll never know whether or not there was ball juice in it.
Did you bring that up with him, though?
No.
Oh.
It wasn't worth. It was just I haven't seen him in a while because I haven't actually seen him specifically like the last 4 or 5 times that I've gone.
Yeah.
So we really actually just like spent probably 10 minutes just catching up.
I see. So you
He hasn't seen the guy since high school. You want him to start talking about ball juice in the
Dude,
video?
I haven't seen you in a long time. Your business might be selling ball juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cedar City guys are fucking weird.
Yeah, do you know what the FDA stance on ball vape juice is?
I'm sure that they'd be against it.
I'd hope so.
Yeah, there's probably a loophole for it though. You can probably figure it out.
Human excrement is a biohazard, but sweat isn't.
Well, it feels just like it's kind of like
By
there's
ball
like
juice, did it taste like cum? Or
No.
did it taste like ball sweat?
no, very much. It tasted like the smell of sweaty balls. Yeah. If it tasted like cum, I would just say that it tasted like cum.
Okay.
Right. You wouldn't hide that.
No.
Beat around the bush, so to say.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like I'm so cum adverse.
Well, that is anticlimactic, Shane.
Yeah, man.
But it's a little fun that you have this unsolved mystery that's going to be unsolved forever.
Yeah,
right?
presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Cloud9, if you want us to stop talking about it,
You could sponsor us.
anti-sponsorship this week is Cloud9's Cedar location where they might be selling sweaty ball juice in their Bloodsicle.
Slash
Not
maybe
anymore.
the FDA as well.
Right. The FDA might be selling sweaty ball juice.
Yeah.
Like they got to tap into that market.
Oh,
Big vape juice.
big vape.
Yeah, big vape.
Patrick, do you have some news for us?
You know what? I have some really big news. You wanna maybe show what the news is, babe? You wanna get in on this?
Go on.
My other finger.
Put a ring on it, baby. We put a ring on it.
Kiss him. Kiss the boy.
Kiss. Yeah.
Hug the boy.
She couldn't hear you, so I had to use the nonverbal communication.
Oh, right. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Patrick and Dave for
Congrats.
getting engaged.
How cool is that?
Thank you guys so much. We're very excited.
We're very happy.
Do you have a date for the wedding? Are you guys gonna elope? What's
Have you
the
guys
plan?
dated?
Have you guys what?
Yeah, we've dated once or twice.
Okay.
No, we don't have any kind of date or anything yet. We're planning on, saving up money, taking a little time.
That makes sense.
We're saying tentatively like 1 to 2 years.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you already live together and you've been together a long time, so
Save up for the open bar. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's only going to be Capri Suns there and macaroni and cheese.
That sounds like
That sounds kind
Fucking
of fun.
awesome.
I'd be fucking hyped to go to that. Like this is it. This is all you guys got. This is fucking sick.
There will also be a Bumpy
It's like-
lounge
Oh
at
yeah.
Patrick's wedding.
Yeah. I was gonna say we were gonna do it on the podcast.
Oh,
my God.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
A special podcast from the chapel.
Yeah. It
I
would be
love
sick
that.
if you guys got married in the show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you do
Yeah,
pine
Pat-
after her, so
Yeah.
it's definitely like a potential bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick and Miami Velvet.
That's
course.
right. I hope so.
Vibe Destroyer, aka.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, congratulations to
Yeah,
Patrick.
congrats,
And Dave.
Dave
Thank
and
you.
Patrick.
Thank you
That's
very
awesome.
much.
We're so
favorites.
happy for you.
Okay, so I watched 2 movies this last week.
Okay.
Wow.
So the first one I worked for, and I was working for the city, and for Movie in the Park we had to watch Minions: The Rise of Gru.
How was it?
So it was, and I'm not like, okay, this is after 2 weeks ago I watched Family Camp, and I came on here and I said that's the worst movie I've ever seen because they just did every trope and it was really bad. After seeing Minions: The Rise of Gru, I retract that completely. Minions: The Rise of Gru is the worst movie ever. They didn't like. Here's the deal: Family Camp at least tried to make a movie, and it was just like bad and cheesy. But like Minions isn't even a movie; it's just like a YouTube video of some yellow annoying things running around, and that's all it is. Like I was explaining this to.
Come on, man. They're kind of cute.
No, but they're not anymore. That's the thing. They like. So okay, like I've watched a lot of Disney movies, and it's always
Is it
this
because
a
they're
kid
speaking
movie.
Spanish now?
Well, so that's I was going to bring that up. So one thing about the Minions is that they no longer just speak nonsense and then sometimes say banana. They speak
Minionese.
Spanish. Yeah, they literally speak Spanish, like not like broken Spanish throughout the whole thing.
That's erasure.
Yeah.
Erasure.
But the other thing is like, yeah, so again, like most Disney movies, you watch them knowing they're a kid thing. And so it's like, okay, like this is going to be kind of bad. But at the end of it, you're like, okay, this is like Up and stuff like that. It's like, this is a good movie.
Up's a good movie.
This Minions is not. There is no, I don't know. At the end of it, you're just like, why did that happen? And anyways, it's bad. And like, I've seen the original Despicable Me also. That's fine. It's a kid's movie. This is like So it shouldn't be a movie. I don't even know.
It's so there's the original Minions movie. This is the sequel to it, right?
Yeah. So it's
yeah.
Despicable Me, Despicable Me 2, then Minions Rise of Gru.
Yeah. I still think they should have called it Gru Rising.
Yeah.
So much sicker, but
Do you think it would have been better if there was like gameplay footage of Subway Surfers going at the same time?
Yes, 100%. I would have paid more attention.
Someone just like cutting a melon really like intricately.
Or someone doing the like Minecraft obstacle course thing. Those are mesmerizing.
Yeah,
Kinetic sand.
Yeah. Man, so what do you think a generation of children raised on Gru Rising is going to be like?
We're going to find out.
This is what...
Hopefully they're all Spanish speaking.
Oh, yeah, right. But it's all really annoying Spanish.
Yeah, because the whole time I was watching it, I was also thinking, like, okay, like, compared to what adults felt when they watched SpongeBob in the early 2000s, how does this compare? Because, like, I can for sure see SpongeBob being annoying to adults. But I think at the end of those episodes, the adults would still go, okay, like the Disney movies, this is still good.
Yeah.
It's like, it's made for kids and it's annoying, but it's still, like, is good and there's funny jokes. And, like, as an adult now, you can watch it and go, this is still good. So that's why I think that is.
Yeah.
This just has no redeeming qualities, personally.
Bummer. Damn.
Yeah, anyways, the next movie I watched, we also watched Carrie, which I didn't really pay that much attention to, but it seemed pretty cool. The
like
old
the
one.
OG?
Yeah.
Sick.
Maddie really likes Stephen King. So
my main gripe with that is it starts off with a high school shower locker room scene with a bunch of like teenage girls that are all like topless, and I'm like, that's not great.
Well, I think that's how the book kind of starts too. Just from, I know Maddie read the book and she kind of I don't know though, but I do know the.
I don't know if that's a great defense.
I don't think so either, because
Have you seen the movie?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know exactly. Anyways, but I know that the end of that movie is different than the book. At the end of the movie, I don't want to spoil.
Is there more child nudity?
No, but like the friend doesn't like end up being scared by her, where she does in the movie, which like her friend is supposed to be her friend. Well, anyways, but the other movie that I did watch is Saving Private Ryan. And
the Minions of Spielberg movies.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, so I went into this like I had heard before going into this that this was like an anti-war movie, and so I was like, okay, it's gonna make some points about stuff. And essentially, what I came out with was that it was a really, really, really cool opening scene, and then it was like an hour and a half of just straight propaganda of and I think it's interesting because at the end of the movie I went like, man, they didn't make any points, things just happened. But I think it's interesting because I think that they did make the point, war is sad and people die, and because of that it's sad, which if you don't really have any real morals about why war is bad, then I guess that's enough of a point. It's just if you've thought about then it's like at the end of that it feels like they're not making a point at all. So if you kind of have the early 2000s, not necessarily conservative, but pro-America view, coming away from that with that little of a point of view, I think was meaningful for a lot of people, where I think a lot of other people probably watched it and went like, that didn't say anything,
Yeah.
Well, I think that no war movie will ever be a true anti-war movie.
Right.
No matter what, it will always be propaganda.
Always glamorizing it.
Oh, no matter what, it always will be.
So I haven't seen it, but there's a movie called Come and See. That's I think it's Tarkov. No, I don't.
Is it about the war?
It's about a war.
Then it's propaganda.
It's from what I've read, and this is just from Letterboxd, so anything, is that it's like the most actual real anti-war movie. Like this character like drastically changes negatively, experiences horrific stuff, and like it's just terrible the whole time. And like the entire premise of the war is horrible, and just like being in it is horrible. Like it's not. That's what I've heard. I haven't watched it. Watch movies. Don't listen to people that don't know about movies talk about movies they haven't seen.
Read the Letterboxd reviews.
Yeah,
but it's a good point.
The Spark Notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
a YouTube video that had Subway Surfer playing at the same time.
A movie is supposed to make things look cool. That's just kind of what it does, right? And, or like, it's supposed to be interesting looking. If you put war on that, it inherently is kind of going to glamorize it because it's going to be
captivating.
It's not going to be like, look at this guy dying. And it's not like, look at this because it's cool. Look at this because it's scary. And you can't do that with a movie because people are paying to go and watch entertainment, So if you put something graphic on the screen, that's still entertainment.
Yeah,
it is a predicament for sure.
Have you seen All Quiet on the Western Front?
So I was going to bring that up too. I haven't seen it.
I would say that's a good example of what I would say like an anti-war movie. And I think that it's probably the perfect movie to make one about for the First World War. I was going to say that when you mentioned Saving Private Ryan. I've never heard anyone say that is an anti-war movie, and I feel like an anti-war movie about World War II would be like kind of impossible. I feel like that's one of the only wars where we can kind of unanimously agree where the US's involvement was a good thing. Yeah. So that one, like, you're kind of fucked trying to make an anti-war movie for World War II. Yeah. But I think All Quiet on the Western Front did a really good job. There's nothing glamorized, obviously, about the war, but even, like, the main characters, there's no, like, triumphant, like, heroic moment. Like, the whole thing is just bleak and shitty.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. I haven't watched a lot of war movies, honestly.
Neither have I. I have nothing to add to this conversation.
Minions Rise of Gru.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I kept on comparing it kind of to Saints and Soldiers, just because that's one movie, like a war movie that I had watched. Obviously, very, very different movies, but
our neighbor made that.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg does a lot better with cinematography than that movie did, for sure. Like that opening scene it's insanely captivating. But yeah, the rest of the movie is just. And another thing is also, you notice halfway through the movie with like the connections the characters are making and stuff, it's like, oh yeah, this is definitely the guy who made E.T. who's doing this, not necessarily a guy who made other like really, really good, like deep
Transformers.
Yeah. But like, yeah.
Fucking Schindler's List.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's fair. But like, it's like, it doesn't feel like, I don't know, you never really feel anything for any of the characters. It seems like that's what it's going to be. And then like the characters just kind of die off and you don't really know who they are. And some of them are far away when they die, so you don't know that that's even a character you're supposed to care about. Huh. Which, yeah, anyways.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. So you're saying these things and it's like, you're probably right. Mm-hmm. I have no fucking idea at this point. I just know that like it's like a baller ass cast.
Yeah, for sure. That's one thing when they do the original thing where they find that the Private Ryan, the first guy, and he tells them all about it, and it's not him. Like immediately, I knew that wasn't him because when they did the face reveal, it wasn't a famous actor, and I was like, I know that's not.
Right.
Yeah,
right, of course.
Right. Wait, that's not Matt Damon.
Yeah. There is something about that, right? About showing characters in film and they're not like a famous actor and immediately knowing that they're not like an actual important character. Mm-hmm. And there's something to be said about like kind of hiding who the actors are when you want to reveal an actor, right? Because so for an example is in Seven, they didn't market that Kevin Spacey was in it at all, because if they did, then you would know that he's going to come out at some point.
Right.
And he's like the main guy. Spoiler, but fucking it's 90 whatever.
Yeah, so, of course.
And so they just completely hit it. And I think that there's something really interesting about that sort of meta advertising thing about that. And we talked about with like Drew Barrymore and Scream.
Right. Almost the opposite at that point.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Just had a couple thoughts about the comment of the nudity in the high school, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a thing that's been happening forever. High school kids and then that are played by adults, portrayed to be kids, that have full like frontal nudity. Yeah. And the first thought I had was Euphoria specifically.
I was just thinking that.
Right. Like there's like dicks and balls out.
Yep.
And those are high school kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like the only reason a character would need to be high school aged is that they still lack a pretty severe amount of independence. Mm-hmm. And there's a sense of like reliance on other people and on adult figures and things like that like you don't get if you just said that they were in college instead. Right. And I'm not saying it's good or bad or the right thing or the wrong thing to do, but it's like the only thing that I could possibly think of is that it still has this like sort of like.
Yeah, I mean, I think
that makes
like,
sense.
The reason why you might have them in high school instead of college would be access to education, right? There is a melting pot in high school that happens that isn't necessarily there in college because people fucking have to have real jobs and shit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you have like more real life stuff going
exactly.
on.
That's the only thing I can kind of think of in that direction.
Yeah, but it is weird. I don't know why people continue to do it. I think that you could easily have a bunch of naked adults portraying adults,
or just not show them naked. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasonable reasons why you'd want to have high school aged characters, and also why you'd want to have high school aged characters having sex with each other. But I think that there's so many ways that you can shoot stuff that doesn't show actual full nudity of of children.
Yeah. So portrayed children. Yeah.
Kind of along with like just why is that trope so common? So Brene Brown, who I don't know if you guys know who she is, but I had to read one of her books for my class. But one of the things that she talks about is that pop culture rejects normal life. That is like one of the key things it does is it says if you're doing the average thing, you're doing it wrong and it's lame. And
Right.
what it does is that it's the whole thing with like makeup too, in that like they make you feel bad about yourself, so you'll go and buy things. And that's what pop culture does. It says if you're normal, you're bad, and you have to go and buy things and listen to cool music and buy the cool music and whatever, you know.
Sure.
And so I think that
well, as an anti-normie, I have to agree with that. So.
I just heard you say buy music, and the words "suck a dick" for an iTunes gift card came into my head.
You know what? If you had to.
You gotta do what you gotta do
go
to
to
listen to the
iBucks.
cool music.
in like 15 seconds, we went talking from Brene Brown to suck a dick for an iPod. That's
Yeah,
Just
right
like
there.
she would have wanted.
Well, I have a little game that I want to play a quick round of, and I
Sick.
think it'll be fun for an audio video experience.
Great.
Okay,
We'll be
so I
sitting there
want
staring at it.
each person to take a card from this box. Do not say what it is. And the goal of the game is to make a sound that sounds like the thing on your card without saying any words. And Patrick, I will draw a card for you and show it to you.
Okay.
Does it matter what color?
Nope.
I'm gonna go for a green, I believe. It feels good.
Okay, does everyone have their card?
Yes.
I got a boring one, but I'm gonna do it. It's fine. I'm gonna do
You
it.
want to go first then?
Yeah, we'll get out of the way.
Okay.
And I only make a sound, correct?
Yeah. Sneeze.
Sneeze.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sneeze.
Patrick?
Bzzz, ouchie, 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 ouch.
B.
A bee. A
Bee
wasp.
sting.
Sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does ouchie count as a word?
Yeah, but
Okay.
in that situation, it makes sense.
Okay.
It's an onomatopoeia.
Yep.
I'll go next.
Oh, 5G.
Alien cat.
What was that?
Alien cat.
It was Alien, and I
Nice.
fucking drew the same card
Yeah,
again.
that's funny.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Race car.
Is it a truck?
Road
Like a
trip.
semi-truck?
Road trip?
Drive.
It's an
Driver.
object.
Ryan Gosling. Car.
Four-wheel drive.
Race
Off-roading.
car.
NASCAR.
There's some dog poop. Gotta get past that.
Dog poop.
Oh, lawn mowing.
Yes.
Mowing
There
the
we
lawn.
go.
Aqua.
Bass
car.
guitar.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. Well, I was kind of right.
It was Seinfeld, but it was.
Hey, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, now whose was the worst impression?
It took us a while to get yours.
It was.
I don't know
pretty
that it's the worst. It was just the hardest.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
also think. Yeah.
You also cheated and said words.
good. Oh, so dog poop's a word.
I never realized how close like lawnmowers and race cars were in sounding. Yeah.
Are there?
Well, it threw me off because at the beginning you were like doing like a gear shift. You were like,
Yeah.
I was just trying to start the lawnmower somehow, but
It's a pull start.
yeah. Well, no, I have one where you like hold the thing and press a button.
It's electric.
Oh yeah, that would have been.
Okay, well there's the class divide. We couldn't guess your bougie ass lawnmower.
That cost
That was
like
the problem.
$60.
Yeah, don't get electric mowers.
Well,
$60? Hello,
It
rich
wasn't-
people. Alec is joining you.
It wasn't $60, by the way. It was more than that.
okay.
It was $69.
I regret it.
Whoa! Is there a funnier amount that it could have been?
Alec, you have some news, don't you?
I have some news. This is pretty exciting, actually.
Even more exciting than the Far Out Fest?
It's a different kind of exciting.
Sweet.
So
So you're saying no.
this week, I have accepted a job offer to
Oh.
be the front-end developer for Slug Magazine.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh my god.
Yep. So I'm going to be doing some remote web development for the Slug team, help build out their website, keep it nice and cool. So
Slug it up.
That's a big gig. That's some big boy stuff.
it's pretty exciting. It's cool. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah,
so
that is cool.
Yeah. Shout out to the team there, and I'm excited to do some good work and meet everybody, meet all the cool people that are up there writing and involved in that sort of stuff, and hopefully we can.
What up, slugs?
Slug.
Mugs.
Sluggers.
Sluggy soup.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. They have no idea about this.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, man, that's fucking way cool. I think that's, I don't know, like more exciting than Far Out Fest probably.
In a way, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, they're in the same like umbrella.
Of
I think so.
like cool
Things.
alternative
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's an opportunity to really get involved in the local Utah alternative scene a little bit
Sick.
more, in like a more of a what's the word? Like a
front end way.
yeah,
Not the back end way.
an institution. You know.
Oh yeah.
They're
They're an institution.
They are an
They
institution. They are like the thing. And like, you know, I've been following Slug for a long time,
Yeah.
as I'm sure most of us have, and
Right.
checking it out. It's always been really cool to see that, like, oh, hey, there's like actual stuff happening in Utah that isn't just fucking what we think of as a normal culture. And they've been doing an awesome job.
Assisted Living is playing Slug Mag. They're doing some event, or they did some event where assisted, which is
Slug
Jade
localized.
Jade Whitlock.
Cool. Shout out Jade.
Yeah, they played that. Anyways, cool stuff.
Yeah. So when the website breaks, that's my fault.
Sick.
So for my job with the city, I drive Artie the Art Bus, which is an award-winning bus for art museums around here. And it's like inside it's this art museum bus. It just has some pictures of art, and you can bring kids on it. Anyway, so I drive that around. So one day I'm going out, and we do this little thing at the park. So I drive it to the park. One day I'm with the kids, and we're walking out there to get on the bus, and I open up the bus, and as I walk in, I just hear some guy go, "Oh, hey, I'm in here. I'm getting out." And I was like, "What the hell?" And there's just a guy asleep or he was asleep on the bus. Now he's like waking up, like, "Oh," and I'm like,
wow.
"What the hell?" So I have to run inside and tell my what they're called, my supervisor about that. We came back out, he was gone already, so he'd already disappeared into the
day.
morning. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that he heard that it was an award-winning bus, and he just he had to drunkenly pass out there.
Yeah. There's still like a sock of his that is on the bus, but like none of us want to touch it, so we just left it there.
Just leave it for one of the kids.
What color
to pick
is
up.
it?
No.
It's a piece of art now.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
commentary on the unaffordability of housing
This
in
is
St.
not
George.
a sock.
Let's just put a plaque around it. And
Yeah.
It's good,
Or a frame.
yeah, that's awesome.
Also, I've been cooking recently.
Ooh.
Yeah, the last like 5 days in a row, I've been cooking steak, chicken,
Ooh.
pork.
Let them cook.
I don't know if you guys are big cooking people.
Yeah.
You cook often?
Yeah.
We had a pizza night the other night.
You cook
Fun.
pizza?
Mhm.
Nice.
Made our own dough.
Like tossed it. and
You made
everything?
your own dough.
Yeah.
That's
when
cool.
the moon hits her.
Like a big pizza pie.
That's
That's
Train's
amore. That's making your own dough is sick.
Yeah.
I made a soup this week. Nothing too fancy, just like noodles. Green,
I don't think you need to qualify it. I think you
green
just say you made a soup
onion,
and that's it.
rotisserie chicken,
Yum.
miso paste.
Yeah.
It was good.
Mm-hmm. I make a pretty mean, mediocre breakfast burrito.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's wet.
Yeah, he
I like it
does.
wet.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right, baby.
Don't we all?
The secret is cream cheese with your eggs.
Oh, hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whipped cream cheese.
Sorry, Max.
Yeah, I'm lactose intolerant.
Apparently, we're all very cookie people.
Yeah, see, I have not been. It's just recently I've gotten this new burst of like, well, actually what it is I realized that like you can get a steak for like $7.
Yeah.
And like it's a big ass steak, and like that's $7. Like that's a pretty cheap meal. It's like, yeah, I can just do that like every day if I wanted to. So
Yeah,
I just have
sure.
been. I've been overindulging.
Yeah, get some asparagus with that shit. And mashed potatoes.
Yeah, mashed potatoes.
Mhm. Some A1 sauce.
You'll be
I'm-
shitting so good.
Yeah.
You talking about this? I need to go to the bathroom really quick by myself.
Go eat his leftover steak he left in there.
Right by my homeless man sock.
You guys ever order steak and eggs at a restaurant?
No.
Okay, so
That's what I used to get at St. Helens.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Fuck,
not like
St.
too
Helens.
expensive there. That's the thing with steak
No.
and eggs is it's always way too expensive. But I also got to thinking, it's pretty interesting. Like did that only become a thing in restaurants? Because like that seems like an insane thing to wake up in the morning and be like, I'm gonna cook myself a steak
have
right
something
now.
to say about this.
Is it not just like a working man's meal?
So so Big Egg campaigned, and this is actually something Sequoia from the Nonsense Bazaar talked about in a recent episode of theirs. Basically, some guy psyopted America into thinking that bacon and eggs was the breakfast, and that you needed a heavy breakfast, a greasy, salty breakfast. And that is why we have eggs for breakfast, or like something like steak or bacon.
So I thought it was bacon specifically. I didn't realize that eggs was a part of that.
I might have it
confused. There's like a bacon
confused.
psyop for sure, because it's like the cheapest, the shittiest part of the pig. And it's like, well, how can we try to market this? And so
that
it
for
was
sure
like,
has happened too. There's
Yeah.
like a lot of food lobbying that happens. When I was in high school in my foods class, the pork lady, like she was employed by the Pork Association of America, and she came and like
The other
had
white meat.
all of us make
Yeah.
like a pork loin meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it
So
like,
fucking
was
crazy.
the pork with the like fucking maple syrup and shit?
I don't remember.
Huh. Yeah.
Well, regarding the bacon and egg thing, have you considered that maybe he was right?
I mean, it is yummy.
It is yummy.
Have you ever thought about
I
how
like eggs.
okay, farm animals, a cow makes milk. You can also kill it, but then you won't get any more milk.
Yeah.
A chicken makes eggs. A sheep makes, like wool and stuff like that. A pig? What does it do? It just gets fat and then you eat it. What's the point of even letting it get that fat?
It makes cosmetics.
Fuck, what's it called? Like a composter. It's like a bug or like a fucking vulture. It gets rid of all your trash for you. That's what it does.
Are you thinking of goats? I thought goats do
Are you
that.
thinking of garbage men?
Every pig is employed by your city sanitation department.
I want to get chickens. I want
Me
to get
too.
some chickens.
Little chickies running around the backyard.
Because they will compost your like kitchen scraps.
Here's
Yeah,
a
and
que-
they will lay eggs, and we eat eggs
Yeah.
for breakfast.
Would you name them?
Yeah, I think so.
Would you cry out their name as you're slaughtering them?
No, we wouldn't slaughter them. They'd be
I would.
egg-laying chickens. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't kill a chicken. I know. I know that.
I do
know
it with
how
my
you feel.
bare hands.
It's pretty easy. You just grab it by the head and spin it around twice.
I watched my stepdad
my
kill
God.
a chicken in Guatemala.
Guys, I want to kill
Shout
a
out
chicken.
to
We gotta
Jeff.
go Guatemala for it. No, I gotta pay for this.
No,
there's
we-
something
I want all my kids to watch me.
There's something about that feels culturally significant.
No.
But no, I would name the chickens the same way I name my chickens and animals in Stardew Valley. I'd have Alec do it for me.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our buddy Jake was going to have chickens, and we said that he could do it, but he had to name all of them Gretchen. So the Gretchens would run around. And
Yeah, I would love to have chickens too, but we just got to figure out. There's so many other projects we got to do first
Yeah.
before we start building a fucking coop and everything else. But
you
Yeah.
have to make sure that they don't do like a coup, like Chicken Run.
yeah,
You gotta squash the chicken revolution.
yeah, absolutely. I gotta whip them into shape first.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
There was when I was a kid, when we lived up in up north, there was a lady in our ward who had chickens and she grew them, and that's fine. I want to talk about the lady though. She had the longest arm hair I've ever seen anyone have, and
cool.
that includes like men, like everything, and like it's almost impressive to the point of it's like
How many inches are we talking here?
like here, like she'd move her hand through the air and you'd like see it like some like kung fu master or something like that.
Like,
You know what I
She's
mean?
got like
Wow.
wings.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's
yeah,
cool.
it's kind of chicken-like. She had a down.
Wow.
That's feminism right there.
I'm imagining like a retelling of Rapunzel.
She sounds like the perfect person to bring with you when like you want to go outside, but you might get stormy. She can like gauge the electricity.
Holy shit.
Oh shit!
Can you imagine when that chick gets goosebumps?
It probably just like has a little wave to it.
Her kids have to run away.
9 out of 10 Bigfoot sightings, that right there.
Yeah. when music plays, it's like a visualizer.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a pair of those
shout out
speakers?
Chicken Lady.
Yeah,
those speakers that you'd plug in and they were like liquid,
Yeah.
and the bass would like
Oh,
make
yeah.
the
We
water jump
we
up.
bought one 4 months ago.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah, shout out Ross, Dress for Less.
Nice. As opposed to the other Ross.
Well, you know.
Dress for more.
Ross from Friends.
Yeah. Not TJ Maxx.
They might have them too. I just didn't buy one. there.
Okay.
Let's talk about this. TJ Maxx doesn't have a men's shoe section.
No.
Yeah, what the fuck?
What is this?
They just.
I hate TJ Maxx.
Yeah, but you know what? Like,
There's no one more oppressed.
Yeah. Yeah. My name.
TJ Maxx doesn't have a men's shoe section. It's really upsetting.
It's really upsexing.
Well, fucking Ross feels like a post-apocalyptic wasteland. You go
The
in there
vibes
and
are
like,
very different.
you go in there
Yeah.
and like there's someone screaming in like every corner of the room and like shit's all over the floor and it's like
You have to fight people off to look at the shirts.
exactly
Oh my God.
yeah
Yeah.
They have like their security guards like the anti-stealing guys standing there like don't you fucking dare.
Yeah, theft protection. It feels like if anywhere there is a room full of straight up actual for real NPCs, it's inside of a Ross.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely they populate them there.
It's just it's like what dude. There's like a fucking like a spawner.
That's the spawn point.
Yeah.
That's where all the Sims like go and get like stuck in the store. They have to reset them every month. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, for real. I do like Ross a lot.
That's where I get like all of my shoes from. That's why I hate fucking TJ Maxx. Give me some of them cheap knockoff
There's nothing.
name brand shoes.
I've got some cool stuff at Ross. I've bought a lot of shoes in my lifetime at Ross. There's every once in a while there's some really cool shit. I've got like some socks there. It's the worst place to buy underwear.
How come?
It doesn't fit.
Oh, interesting.
It's like I don't know who that underwear is designed for, because it's like men's underwear, but there's no room for any man stuff.
Is it Ethica or Ethnica?
That
Humble
shit's good.
brag.
Ethica's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So like all of like anything that's like
ethical?
anything that is like hung up on a hanger by itself, like that's all good stuff, right? It's anything that's on the rack that's like prepackaged.
Yeah.
Nothing I've ever bought has ever fit, no matter how big or how small I go with it.
But only in Ross. Like
Only
Hanes.
at Ross, but even like the Hanes at Ross are different,
Interesting.
and they don't fit. They're like I don't know who the fuck they're made for.
Well, maybe it's just like all the ones that are kind of janky they send to Ross.
It's gotta be that.
You know?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of their whole thing, so it makes
They
sense.
all fall off the truck, sit out there for like 2 days, shrink, and then they
Yeah.
take them to Ross.
Or just like the new guy got on the fucking, the new kid probably
Yeah.
got on
Yeah.
the fucking sewing machine.
Yep.
Yeah, the new child.
Yeah, the new child. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry. I should have clarified. The new child. Yes.
I found some like MLS jerseys at Ross that I've like
Oh,
not
cool.
like teams I've been interested in, but I've like posted, oh look what I just found on Ross, and like bought it and sent it to people.
Well, I think there's a
friends
lot
on
of
Twitter.
football enjoyers that go to Ross.
Yeah, they're
So
definitely
it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. They have a demographic there for sure. They've taken over Gen X. Yeah. It's an interesting selection of clothes for sure.
Yeah, my favorite pair of sneakers I've ever had, I got from Ross.
It sounded like you were out of breath right there.
So excited
No.
about our sneakers.
I
My
mean,
favorite pair of sneakers.
I just barely
just
had a
ran
sip
in
of my
them.
drink.
Meg worked at Ross for a while.
Oh really?
Yeah, so she had like inside scoop on stuff, so that like she like knew when like the new like shit was showing up and stuff like that.
So
These are them. They
There they
are
Look at them.
a few years old.
Wow,
At least
really?
a few years old, holding up really well.
Yeah, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you're
Ooh.
missing out on some
They're nice
goddamn
and lightweight.
pink
Slide on.
Pumas.
Puma shoes.
I took an
Must-
interview at Ross, and
How'd
it was fine. And then they told me, oh yeah, we get new men's stuff in on, I don't want to say the day because I don't want anyone to be scooping in there. And I said thank you, and I did not follow up on that job. I said I got all I need.
Yeah, this is actually all I wanted.
Yeah.
There's no
I have the
there's no
info.
discount. Yeah, this is good enough.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I know the
So-
day. Yeah.
This is slightly on topic. Is we've been thinking about what Bumpy Soup merch looks like,
Oh, sick.
and specifically T-shirts.
Yeah.
and maybe a moral obligation to not create more Gildans in the world. And so maybe thrifting. Thrifting some t-shirts
And
that look
screen
cool,
printing.
and then either screen printing or like bleach printing, or there are like different
There's so
ways
many
you can do
options.
that.
Sharpie them.
Well,
Sharpie
just put a
them.
sticker on it.
Embroider
Oh, yeah.
them.
Yeah, Toy Bombs came through St. George a handful of times, and that was Brandon and Cole. Brandon, for a long time, was the guitarist keyboard for Sego.
That's
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And when Toy Bombs came,
That was X Era's first show at Jazzy's when Toy Bombs
That's
came.
right.
sick.
Yeah,
Right,
and
it
Jack
was.
did sound. Anyways.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did mine and Jack's band play that too?
No.
I wonder if we weren't together or if if it didn't work out.
I know Jack did the sound on that one, so maybe.
I don't know.
But
I don't think so.
Either way, Toy Bombs came through, and that's what they did. They secondhand thrifted a bunch of just random T-shirts and then bleach printed just the word Toy Bombs on it.
Nice.
That's cool.
Sick.
And it's cool. It's one of my favorite shirts. I still have it. I've had it. That's probably the oldest shirt that I own at this point. But it's a sick look, and I think it's a cool idea too. The like recycling, reducing, and reusing is always a sick thing to do.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Do any of you have any favorite band T-shirts?
The Morning Sexy one with the otter.
Yeah.
Oh
Sick.
yeah,
Fucking
the
ultra
baseball
classic.
tee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the otter has like the pocket. Yeah.
Holding his coffee.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I love that shirt.
Yeah.
that's a great shirt.
That's so funny.
I have 3 Brockhampton shirts. Well, I have more than 3 Brockhampton shirts, but there are 3 Brockhampton T-shirts that are like 3 of my favorite T-shirts of all time. Brockhampton, at least used to. The last drop sucked, but really high quality stuff, and it like fits really well. I love that from them.
That's cool.
You pay $90 for it. It's
Yeah,
fucking sick.
you
dude.
you pay for it, yeah, for sure. And like the
Yeah.
cool thing that they do is also they only drop stuff in drops, so it's all limited edition. Like you can't like
Right.
like if you buy a shirt, it's gonna be like buying from a designer.
Right, yeah, so it's almost like it's like designer clothing at that point.
Exactly, which
Right.
is like a cool thing. You have it,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh yeah.
So I have a couple pieces of criteria for favorite band shirt, right? So one of them is like a band that I love that I have their shirt.
Right.
Right. The next would be like the fit
Right.
of the shirt, and the third would be just like actual design logo. Right? Does that make sense?
Does
Yeah.
fit also include like softness or comfortableness?
Yeah, probably. I think like a skin feel.
Yeah.
For sure
Yeah.
would be a part of that. Absolutely.
So no Gildans.
Yeah, and see,
Well, I've worn some really comfy Gildans.
Yeah.
It's honestly kind of fucking crazy, actually. But with those 3 things in mind, the best fit shirt that I have is from a guy named Jake Tittle. And he came through Jazzy's one time. He's an acoustic guy. The design is cool. It's like all like single line pen drawing. It's him standing with like a Pop-Tart and someone sitting down on a couch in front of him.
Oh,
But
cool.
neither of them have their heads drawn. So it's like just a neckline, shoulders.
That is rad.
And it's cool. The guy it was cool music, was whatever. The fit of that is really, really great. There was this Provo band that came through, and it's my favorite look. It's like this like old fucking like free domain family photo, but like fucking everybody's eyes are crossed out.
Nice.
And it's something that everybody's dead or everybody dies or something like that. But they're like an Imagine Dragons fucking ripoff band from Provo.
Sick.
Which is such a crazy
Yeah.
like mismatch of like branding and whatever.
Yeah.
But that look of that one specifically is pretty hard, especially considering
You're right.
what it was. And then I think my all-time favorite band tee ever is the North Valley T-shirt that I have.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't you have one of the? Or no, I'm thinking of the.
Great Interstate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with the moon.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's a cool one too. Dude, it was tragic. I saw this such an amazing band shirt one time. It was a Boss pedal, and it had like the 3 knobs on it, and the 3 knobs were beer, weed, and riffs, and they were all turned up all the way. and like the pedal name was the band name. They even had a dope name. They were called Witch Ripper.
That's a
and
sick
I
name.
thought it was gonna be this super sick like stoner metal, like kind of like
It wasn't a dude band?
like Electric Wizard kind of band. No, it was really like butt rock, like Five Finger Death Punch kind of
man.
shit. It was really disappointing. It was the sickest shirt I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this speaks to something about like having a band that is good music and has a good name and has good merch. Those are 3 separate skills
Yeah.
that are like, if you get all of them at the same time, that's awesome, but it's hard
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Also, that Absolve tee that I bought at the show down here.
Yeah.
That one also fits pretty well too.
Oh, I have a Choir Boy long sleeve.
Oh, cool.
That I do love. I bought it secondhand from Iconoclad in Salt Lake.
Cool.
Spent like $30 on it.
Nice.
But it looks good and it fits good, and it's like the only long sleeve that I have that I like.
Oh, nice.
It's like cool yellow color.
I was always a little bummed that I could not very tactfully wear those Sleep Dealer shirts with the Pinocchio, because I loved those. Those were so sick.
Yeah,
those were cool.
That design was awesome. That was Andrew Sato, shout out.
Oh, cool. You're right. Yeah.
Yep. He had that design, and we saw it, and I was like, can you like can you like redraw it? And he fucking like redrew the entire thing just in illustration for us. It was awesome.
That's sick.
That guy's so good. Damn.
If we're talking, I also forgot I have like Void's band merch. I have a bunch of that, and that's cool. Like the soccer jersey they have, and that the cool like longer hanging one.
And a lighter.
Yeah, and the lighter, of course. Yeah, Voids have some of the coolest merch for sure. But that's what you get when you own the record label.
Yeah, I had a Sunsleeper shirt that I really liked. That like kind of a tan one that was done. The design was done by Brian at Flesh and Bone Design. Shout out. It was cool. It was like a gravestone or something like that with their name on it.
Fear and Mistrust. I still wear their Oh Drip shirt whenever I work out. It's just Oh Drip.
That's fun.
Nice. Are there any like interesting pieces of merch that aren't shirts?
The lighter,
of course.
Yeah, of course.
What's his name? Nick Reinhardt from Terramellos. He has a project called Disheveled Cuss. Yeah, and I bought a cassette tape. And it is a cassette, but it doesn't actually have any like tape in it. It's just a cassette, but it has a USB that comes out from under it.
Oh,
and
cool.
you can plug that in with the album. Yeah, it was really cool.
That's sick.
That was an idea I actually kind of had for when I was doing tapes, was basically that same thing, except it would also be like a cassette, but he didn't. Actually, speaking of badass cassettes, again, fucking Far Out Cassette Club, Nick does some cool things. He has one that's it's a pipe.
Oh,
like,
sick.
It's literally there's like a hole in it, and so you can like, and it comes with like a thing of tinfoil, so you can make a little bowl that you can smoke.
Holy shit.
He has this one where he recorded an EP basically, and then he put it up on Bandcamp, and it was like on some like random Bandcamp, and then he took the URL for that, put it into Wingdings font, printed out a label, put it on a cassette, and then he has this cassette, and he fucking resonated, like put the cassette in resin, so you can't like play it or anything, but there's this Wingding font written across it, so if you want to listen to it, you have to fucking like by hand translate the Wingdings to get the URL to listen to it, and it's like, that's the fucking coolest thing. So
we talked about it on the last pod. Despite Despair had their album on the little USB like wallet card thing. That's cool.
Yep.
Queens of the Stone Age had a dugout like to like smoke out of. It has the little like cigarette thing. That's cool. There was something else I was thinking of.
One of Nick's buddies, Adam, he has a label called, I think it's Cassette Perplexity and the Boys, and he does a bunch of cool things. And one of them is he's been making, I think it's Game Boy Advanced games that you can play on like actual hardware.
What the fuck?
It's fucking cool. So
is this the one who's the high school math teacher?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And his wife is a high school math teacher.
Yeah. Oh.
They're really cute.
Oh, so they're a bunch of broke people.
Yeah, unfortunately. But he does that. Also, I got from him. He made it was a copy of Nosferatu on VHS, but sick. he scored it with like metal music. I bought that cassette tape or that VHS, and I gave it to Jeremiah for his birthday.
That's sick. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Talking about just media paired with different music, Maddie was watching Marie Antoinette. The movie, have you guys seen
the
that?
Sofia Coppola one with Kirsten Dunst.
Man, what is up with the soundtrack there? Maddie was saying
it's a trip. It's so weird.
Like, so it was really funny. So if you haven't seen it, it's like all early 2000s like pop punk and like indie rock, and it's like completely out of place with like this, Victorian France backsetting or whatever.
Hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, and at one point she paused the movie and I was like, what's up with the soundtrack? Like, it feels like they're gonna like play the Strokes next, and then as we talked for a second, she puts it on, and the next thing that happens is the main girl, Mary Jane, whatever her name is, goes and lays down on the bed, and Whatever Happened by the Strokes starts playing. I'm like, no fucking way. Yeah.
So I haven't seen that movie, but something I've heard about it is that one of the points of it is showing Marie Antoinette as a teenage
That's
girl.
what
Yeah.
And like having it like
it's a fun watch.
It's strange because the soundtrack is for sure teen movie. I didn't feel like they did that anywhere else, but it for sure is noticeable. So if that's the point, then the point made. Yeah.
So it's like not another teen movie, is what you're saying?
Yeah. But also I don't know how I feel about showing the good sides of Marie Antoinette. I feel like we can. She's got the reputation she deserves, I think.
Yeah, I mean, again, if she was a teenage girl, though, like, how much can you really blame any of the stuff that happened on someone who is that young, born basically into that system? I mean, I don't know. I'm not like fucking trying to hold Marie Antoinette in like good light.
She can be
like
a nepo baby and a child bride at the same time.
The duality of woman.
Yeah.
Nepo baby.
I guess that's
okay,
the
but
point.
better or Marie Antoinette, better or worse than Saving Private Ryan?
I didn't pay a whole bunch.
Which one is more propaganda?
Definitely Saving Private Ryan.
Really trying to humanize the elite ruling class of France?
I think there were
Kind of what Saving Private Ryan does, but for America instead of France.
Okay, fuck, marry, kill. Saving Private.
Well, I'm fucking Ryan for sure. And I'm marrying Saving because I'm trying to have an account set up.
Yeah.
I think that it is time
I was trying to figure out a transition for it. I couldn't get him
Supreme
anything.
69 seconds of soccer.
Fuck, marry, kill. Supreme 69 soccer.
I'm marrying 69.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm killing soccer.
And go.
Okay, welcome to Supreme 69 Seconds of Soccer. Let's
go.
Firstly,
First of all,
Real Salt Lake, change the name of your stadium. Okay, moving on. RSL beat New York Red Bulls 3-1 on Saturday. Let's go. The game was all about Diego Luna scoring 2 goals and cementing himself as the official star boy of MLS. He started off scoring in the second minute with a tap-in from the middle of the box and then added another in the 53rd. Great win for the boys. Poncho Macaroni's done it again. Moving on, Fulham is an absolute shambles right now. Marco Silva and Mitro both have offers from Saudi Arabia, and if I'm going to be honest, I see no reason why they wouldn't take them. Marco Silva currently makes $3 million a year at Fulham, and Saudi Arabia has offered him $20 million a year. I don't know Mitro's numbers, but it's probably pretty similar. Apparently, Mitro's already been trying to force a move through, which is pretty disappointing. Anyways, just another example of how capitalism ruins everything you love and makes it completely meaningless. Sport in its current form is just a vessel for sports washing, and Saudi Arabia is just taking advantage of that. Can we really blame them for that? Yes. We can, because it sucks, and I want Fulham to win and keep our best players. At this point, Saudi Arabia has personally victimized me, and I demand retribution.
That's it.
Shut up. Be quiet.
That was like right in the money. Aaron.
That was right on
That's
it.
insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
So last week, sorry, go ahead.
Diego Luna is an actor, but is also a soccer player.
Yep.
Different Diego Luna.
Wow.
Yes.
Not a Ronald Reagan situation?
No.
Okay.
If Diego Luna becomes president of MLS Players Association, I'm going to get real suspicious.
The Ronald Reagan of soccer players.
Okay, so last week, Alec, Patrick, and I all got a point for predicting an RSL win.
Yeah, of course.
So now we
I
got...
thought I predicted an RSL win.
You weren't on last week.
Oh, just kidding.
So next time...
Loser.
Next week, we got
Yep.
RSL versus Seattle in the Leagues Cup, opening up Leagues Cup action.
Oh, cool.
Alec, RSL versus Seattle.
Man, I love me some Seattle, but you know I'm going with RSL 3-2, baby.
Oh! All right, Emily?
I'm going to say Seattle. 1-0.
1-0 Seattle. Shane?
Wow. You know, I think that they've really been on a roll, and this is prime time for them to fucking drop the ball. Or, I guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
Drop the
base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To drop the
911.
hands.
Right.
Drop kick.
Drop the trow to...
This is prime time for RSL to drop trow.
In my heart, I know they're gonna lose. In my balls, I'm saying it's a tie.
Oh!
What kind of tie is it, Shane?
It's gonna be. I'm gonna go for something realistic. I'm gonna say it's 2-2.
2-2.
Where are they
What?
playing?
They are playing.
This is a first for
Salt Lake.
Shane coming in
In
hot
Salt
with
Lake?
the 2-2.
It's going to be 69 degrees.
69 degrees.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
last time you said it was going to
really?
be sensual. Wasn't quite sensual, but 69 degrees. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, pretty good.
Patrick?
I'm going RSL 2-0.
2-0, baby.
Let's go.
Nice.
Let's go.
And I'm going to go with an RSL 2-1.
I'm still like getting over Patrick's hard 4-0 read.
I know.
That still blows me the fuck away, dude.
that
Holy
was-
shit.
It rocks so hard, dude. Yeah.
Dude,
I'm so excited
getting
about that.
3 points on a 4-0 prediction feels
That's
so
wild.
good.
That's so crazy.
And single-handedly brought you back into the standings. You were being cut adrift.
Yeah.
It was like 2 and we were all above 10. You're back in it now, though. You're at 6.
Yeah.
Wait a second. So Emily and I are tied now.
So, yeah,
For
I'm
first
on
place?
13. Alec and Emily are both on 12.
Oh.
Patrick's on
We got a
6.
dozen. He's the
Shane's
baker.
on 5. Maddie's on 3. Quan's on 4. Brad's on 2. Lisa's on 1. Scat's on 1.
Okay.
All right, well, we're going to get right into the watch of the week.
Watch of the week.
Watch of the week. Gotta watch the week.
I'll watch it.
And this week we watched It's Always Sunny. Gonna do the second time for Always Sunny.
That's right.
And we watched a new episode from season 16.
That's right.
It was episode 6, I believe. It was something about an off-brand Chuck E. Cheese, and this was suggested by Max. So why don't you talk a little bit about it?
Real quick. Charlie Day, notice me. I still love you. You're
Yeah,
aging
so-
well.
Yes.
So this episode is about they go to Risky Rats, right? And it's essentially them dealing with the wokeness of it all, the woke mob,
That's a fair way to explain it.
and them just dealing with how, the place has changed due to the times.
Yeah.
Doo-doo.
That's fair. So this is one of the episodes of this new season. It's called Risky Rats Pizza and Amusement Center. And this is the first season they've made since they started making the podcast, which is just kind of an interesting fact.
Oh, that is an interesting fact.
So, Max, why did you recommend this episode?
So I either recommend it. So, okay, yeah. So we've been watching this new season as it's come out. And I do have to say, I prefer this season over their last couple of seasons. I think that, there's some duds, but I also think that there are some good episodes. I think that the characters have a little bit moved away from what we kind of know them as, but it's still entertaining to watch. I suggested either this one or the episode before it with Bryan Cranston, just because I watched them both and I laughed really hard, and I thought, I laughed really hard at the last one. This one was less laughing really hard, more of like, I appreciate the fact that they did this, and I think that they tackled it in a really good way.
Yeah, interesting. What did everyone think of it?
Shane?
I love Chef Greaseball Linguini. I'm
Yeah.
not Shane, sorry.
Well, what about Dr. Slice?
Is he the Funko guy?
Yeah, the green monster or the purple monster.
Yeah.
And it was like Chef Spaz, I think was the other one. No, it wasn't Chef. It was just something Spaz. But
Do you have any thoughts?
They're fucking old.
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
That was my first. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
These are middle-aged people at least.
Yeah.
They all look good, but like everything that I've watched was like season 6 or earlier.
Yeah.
And so to like jump back in, like, oh my god, whoa, you got some eye bags,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. It's rad they're still doing stuff. I thought it was fun. I love a good coming of age story, and
Who came of age?
just them with the titties on the animatronic.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Of course.
I love the ethical conversation around lifting up her shirt. The
It's
robot
for
shirt.
scientific discovery.
Yeah.
We're just two men who are interested in robotics.
Right. Yeah.
So we're doing this
And
for science?
And then like one of them makes a comment at the end of that scene, like they're like, oh, that's so dehumanizing that they would take the boobs off of her after they've like convinced themselves it's for robotics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a tragedy for feminism.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks, liberals. Or this could have been the religious right too.
Yeah, that one's so
Yeah.
good too. Yeah, lopping off tits really feels like a religious
Yeah.
move. Yeah.
There is actually maybe something to be said about that sort of aspect of being like, was this from the extreme left or the extreme right like doing that, which I mean, obviously they're joking about it in this, but I can see that being like a kind of a larger metaphorical conversation about different stuff.
This is a big thing in my political science classes right now. Like the spectrum is shifting, and it has already shifted, right? From
in regards to lobbing off titties.
Yeah. Well, in regards to how politics work now. In the early 2000s, the right was the religious. We need to make sure there aren't violent video games. We need to make sure that our kids are protected. Now it's the left who is saying, why are we putting out so many violent video games? Should we think about what we're showing our kids? And it really is this, and the right wing is all about, or they claim to be about personal liberty and stuff. So I think that I really liked the point that they made there, which it is a discussion about like what's the point? And also I like the fact that he says, I don't know, this is all too confusing. I'm just going to move past it.
Yeah. Monsters should have monster voices.
Yeah.
I've never heard the leftist claim about violent video games personally, but I get what you're saying.
This man hasn't been on Twitter in a couple years.
Thank God, dude. My brain's been scrubbed clean.
Should we do bits?
Yeah. Let's go through it.
Yeah.
The first one I have is when Mac's talking about the timeout room, and it's after 20 minutes you learn your lesson, and they send you right out there doing leash it on the other kids.
Yeah. I really liked the idea of like this kind of this like 3 generations that it showed. Like that room was the paddle room with when Frank was it, where they just go beat them. Then it was the timeout room with their age, and then it was the feeling center. Mm-hmm. Like nowadays,
you have a licensed therapist in the animal suit. Yeah.
Yep.
And actually, maybe before we go through bits, we should talk about how Dee and Frank's story is about, or like line or whatever it is, storyline is them going through and comparing how it was in his time, how it was in Dee's time, how it is currently, and how that's changed and why it's for the better or maybe not. And then Mac and like that's kind of their whole thing, and they discuss it through the first time they discuss how a lot of jokes in the 80s were making fun of foreigners, and like that 70s show, like the entire joke of Fez is he doesn't speak in an American accent. And then the second one is they talk about how a lot of characters were making fun of people who were handicapped and like couldn't speak right and stuff like that, and like the whole joke is about them as a person, and that's kind of the main point of the whole thing.
They've done stuff like this before. Mm-hmm. Like they've actually done quite a few episodes where they're trying to kind of like retroactively grapple with kind of what might be considered problematic sort of like stances and jokes like that, which I think is kind of interesting for this show to do, because it feels a little bit like these later seasons feel a little bit like both trying to justify it, but also at the same time trying to say that it's like the kind of new moral stance is like correct. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it doesn't always land for me in this show.
So this is something I think about a lot. I love It's Always Sunny because it's really, really topical, and they do something interesting with addressing these topics in that they make their characters the people in the wrong, right? Like that's the characters are the ones doing the stupid things, and it's supposed to show you why acting like that is stupid, like with their gun control episodes and stuff like that, and they don't necessarily show the characters as having the good point of view, but because of that, you get the point of, these people are supposed to be incorrect in their feelings, and they're topical about it.
Something I just thought about was that I feel like a lot of this, the political, because they've always done political stuff. They've always done political stuff, so it's not like it's anything new. But it feels like maybe the stances that they would have been fresher, because now we have stuff like Twitter and like the internet that's making all of those stances a lot more kind of publicly, and so they almost feel a little bit late to the game in terms of making satire.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, like if you make a joke and you have everyone else's jokes who's ever been, you're probably not making a new one. Yeah,
exactly.
The ticket trade-in counter where he's like asking for the toy gun and the
what am I gonna do with an orange space laser?
Yeah.
Actually, my big thing with that is I feel like Mac would have fucking loved an orange space laser. First off. Also, there's no fucking way that Mac would save up 7,500 tickets. Like he would have spent that shit.
He's not the type to do. Yeah.
No. So that's a bit of a character depreciation thing that I didn't appreciate. But
I think that the exposition of what it used to be, and for each and everybody, and even in reference to like how it is now, is definitely interesting. And I think that like it made me think of just like what people are led to believe is fun is so varied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like then like mirrored with the kid that goes to the feelings room with Mac too, of like the kid's having fun.
Yeah.
Without Mac.
Right.
Right. And just because it wasn't fun for him or wasn't as fun or because it was different doesn't mean that it can't be good also.
Yeah.
Because even with, like, because you have these kind of checks and balances, even like with Dee and Frank, right? Where Frank's like, oh, it's fucking the paddle room, right? And she's like, well, that's not what it was for me. And everyone's talking about just like how they liked their version of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it in like that term where it's like it's talking about negatives, but also everyone is defending what they went through and like, oh, this is the right way for it to be. Right. Yeah, and go ahead.
And that could be true for every single person. It could have been true. It could be true for Frank at the same time that it's true for Dee. At the same time, it's true for all the boys and for the young boy as well, right? All of those things can absolutely be true at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's no like resolve in like realizing that inside of the show,
right? Of course,
it was just something that I had thought of like it's just like the classic like, oh well, back in my day.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, you used to die of polio.
Exactly. Yeah. You used to put
you didn't have seat belts.
Yeah.
You used to put realistic animatronic titties on a teenage
robot. I support that, but yeah. So that's kind of like my main thought is that it's just like it's kind of interesting to see like like everyone can still have fun even if it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that's interesting. Like, them getting upset about like the earplugs, which is like, even, that actually relates to shows a lot, is that like a lot of shows now people have earplugs available, which is
you
good.
Fucking should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And change is inevitable.
It is.
That too.
Yeah, I think like along with those things, one of the parts of this episode that was like kind of confusing to me, but also I think made an interesting point is Mac's whole grow some balls speech, right? Where he's talking, he's like, "You're a pussy because blah 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 blah," and like I think it's interesting because one, they're doing the thing where they're showing the character being bad, and the whole point of that is like you have to have shame. We're all built off shame, and that's supposed to be like that's wrong. But going into that, like it is like that's what he knows. He knows not to be bad because of shame. That's how he was taught.
Yeah.
I think now a lot of people think we shouldn't operate off of shame, but like yeah, it's just it kind of goes into what you're talking about, where it's like it's just him defending what he grew up knowing. How can someone be good if they don't feel the shame that stopped him, that made him? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and that kind of made me think of when I did like behavioral therapy for kids. There's this idea that like you shouldn't ever like hold kids, restrain them, stop them, or do anything like that. When I was working there were students that were being violent, and like the only way they would stop being violent is if like you kind of had to hold them down and stop them. And these were kids that had like developmental disabilities. Yeah. And so like it wasn't like this conversation you could really have with them about that. It was like, if I let this kid go, he's going to go start punching this other kid. Like that's already happened multiple times. And I think that there's a bit of like interesting nuance in that sort of area of being like, not to say that like shame is good or anything like that, but that sometimes I think that the way that things are talked about now is this idea that like you can just talk through everything and that it's just going to all be like positive and good at the end of it, when that is just a lot like
sometimes violence is necessary.
I wasn't saying that towards children, but I was saying exactly there, like sometimes there are like, there's a reason why you have to like restrain a child, or there's reasons why you have to like stop things, because like it's not a discussion point.
I would say that you have like bringing this up is a sign of the times that we're in already, which is like, yeah, for sure. There are contexts where that is a thing that shouldn't be the first resort. And I think that it was for a long time because it's the easiest thing to do in a lot of situations.
100%.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not necessary. And when it is necessary, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that being reprimanded is always important, but I think you can be more tactful, right? Or you can be like more efficient.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of what this tackles is that like you can still get to the same place through different ways.
Yes.
Right. And unfortunately now things are a lot more inclusive for people.
Yeah.
So that you can go to whatever the new name of that place is that isn't
RobbiePizza.com.
Right. And people who maybe have like sensitivities to overstimulation or to sound specifically, can like go have a good time now too.
Right, exactly.
And like they're not going to be left out.
And no one's having a worse time because
no,
of it.
exactly.
No. Like none of the kids there looked like they were having a bad time at all,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
None of them were like, man, I really wish I could knock a kid's head in with this fucking skee ball. Mac just kind of sucks, or well, his parents suck. I
Yeah,
guess.
right. Yeah.
Another one of my favorite bits was just the existence of a soundproof bar in the 80s.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
moms are going to the bar and it was soundproofed. Yeah.
Yeah, and that ties into also that kind of idea of like neglect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Let kids
Yeah.
be kids. Yeah.
Yeah, where you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Them signing waivers at the front was
Or not.
or
yeah.
not
Yeah.
signing.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was
Or
like a
not.
real, yeah, that was an interesting thing.
I liked when Mac is talking to the therapy dog, and the dog is like, well, you made a mistake, but you don't have to feel bad about it. And Mac is like, yeah, I do. How am I supposed to know not to do it again?
Yeah.
I also like the dog. He's like, I'm a licensed psychotherapist.
Yeah.
Like, you're a guy in a dog suit. I'm out of here.
I actually really like how they changed Dingbat Duck into Dapper Duck. I
Oh,
think that's
yeah.
like actually a really good way to do that.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
I have an excellent diction now.
I liked, and this I kind of already talked about this, but when Dee is explaining, she's like, "It's funny when people sound funny because they're not from here." That's the whole joke. Yeah.
Yeah, like her trying to justify the racist jokes,
Right.
Because there was like this. thing-
It's really more of like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
anytime Frank says, "Oh, so racism," she's like, "No, don't say that." You know,
right. Which I think that was an interesting way of calling out the idea that these things are still racist, and they were racist, but they were hiding behind this veneer of not being.
Yeah. Right. Like a monster not having a monster voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also liked. That's what the bone is for.
That's what the bone's for. And the fucking faces that Dennis is making, or
Come out and smack
Yeah.
you on the top. Yeah, he'd smack you on the back of the head.
I think I'm gonna start using that line.
That's what
in
the
my-
bone's for.
Yeah. In my day to day,
That's a good one.
it's gonna sneak in on accident.
I really like Frank drinking water out of the fries box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little vessel.
Yeah.
Little paper vessel.
Wait, where did he get the water?
It was coming out of like one of those water bottle things.
Yeah,
So, like,
he didn't know like how to use the water bottle thing, so he put the fries thing under it and then was drinking.
Oh, okay. Because
So
I
the
saw the
drinking-
sign that the water fountain was broken, and I was like, where did he even get it?
yeah.
Mac in this new season looks a lot like this soccer commentator named Hercules Gomez, and you guys don't know who it is, but like it's so funny because Hercules Gomez has mentioned on his show that he watches this, and this new season he also has mannerisms. Hercules Gomez is a ex-professional soccer player, and he just acts like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's really funny that yeah. Here you go. You see the
Oh,
resemblance?
okay, I can see it. I mean, he's kind of just a white guy with like short, stubby, facial hair, but I get it.
Yeah, he's Mexican American, but he definitely it's the facial expressions.
Do you think it's from his time managing Wrexham that has made him look more like a soccer player?
Definitely, for
He's
sure.
evolved. Yeah, soccer players all start to become like one similar looking guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting that when Mac was trying to buy stuff at the using his tickets, she said that like he was trying to buy the candy cigarettes, and she said that cigarettes are illegal. Are cigarettes illegal in Philadelphia?
For kids.
Well,
I think that's what.
Yeah, but they've been had.
Yeah.
but like they were at the time too. It's
Yeah.
not like they weren't. But yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I also like that part right there where he goes, "Give me some nerds, nerd."
Yeah. Yeah. He's getting,
There's
like, super frustrated.
an unbelievable amount of name calling through the whole episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Of just like being mean.
Classic's always sunny. Yeah.
Yeah. To the
being
employees.
jerks.
Oh, the end scene where you're like, what the fuck happened in there?
Yeah. Oh.
It's just like a
Explosion.
doomsday situation
Yeah,
outside their
terrible.
riskies. Yeah.
I like that when they're talking about the purple monster, and he's like, "Well, it was like a white guy who did the voice," and he's like, "Oh, okay," and he's like, "Well, but they are purple." He's like, "What? Monsters?"
Yeah.
Blue, yellow, green, purple. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't just not have a purple monster in the band.
Yeah. When Dee and Frank when they get the mozzarella sticks in that little scene, there is a poster on the wall of this like pizza that has a face on it. I don't know if you guys noticed this.
It looks like hyper realistic,
Yeah,
like the
it's
eyes and mouth and
super
shit. Yeah.
creepy. It was so
Yeah.
crazy. I'll throw a picture up of that, but I loved that.
I just also with the monster scene where he goes, we need monster representation. I just thought that was good too. I like that joke.
I thought you brought up that it was funny that they said the whole thing about how it's too complicated of a conversation for them to have. I thought that was a joke because, like, in that scene, they're talking about how the black monster or like the purple monster is obviously supposed to be like a black person, but they had like a white guy doing a black scent voice for it.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how that's problematic. And they're like, but we need like a purple monster, you know, we need like the black representation, but how do we do it without a white voice? And then they just give up. They're like, I don't know, it's too complicated.
Yeah.
Like the answer isn't just have a black person do it.
Right.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought the joke was, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, that's good.
So you just gave up?
Yeah. I didn't, it was too hard.
Yeah.
For me.
When they're in the therapist area and they're talking about like the sass, he's like, "No, I'm still stuck on the sass. I'm mired in the sass."
I'm mired in
Yeah.
I loved Frank's wine salesman hat,
Dude. Yeah.
like so sick.
Yeah.
That's so tight.
Is it just a baseball cap with wine salesman?
Like
on
really
it?
Sharpie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
huh.
Yeah. Fun fact: the water fountain kid that like gives Frank shit is Rob and Caitlin's son Leo.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Didn't
cool.
know that.
Shout out to Leo.
Shout out Leo.
Patrick, do you have anything else?
Yeah.
Bitwise?
Really quick, shout out someone named Caitlin in 2023.
Shout out.
I'd just like to say the line again. Lopping tits off feels like a religious move, which I think
Yeah.
is really funny because it's like there's like a trans thing there, and it's saying that's a religious move. I thought that was really good.
I could see the far right wanting something like that after like childbearing years are over or something.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna do it, but
Yeah. Imagine
Okay.
if you will.
Production notes.
The opening scene of them in the car, obviously green screened or trailered or whatever, but they also had to shoot coverage of it,
yeah. I was
which
gonna bring that
was
up.
way fucking weird.
And they did coverage 3 different shots through the windshield.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't like
Um,
do like through like the doors or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird choice. I don't know if it was a time thing, a money thing, or just like this is not what you'd expect, so let's do it. Very interesting, very weird.
Yeah.
So just this might be a little bit of a tangent, but just I was reading this thing that said that like one of the main things about how movies and TV shows are shot now is it's shot for coverage. That's the main thing is you shoot for coverage so that when the executive says, "Oh, this country says that there can't be this thing," you can just switch to a different shot all of a sudden.
Well, because that conversation started specifically on every Marvel movie being shot entirely green screen, and that it's easier to just replace the color of something if it's already fake anyway,
Right.
versus having to reshoot or whatever. And yeah, I think coverage is like a part of that too. Then, and maybe it's an exact thing. I guess that would make sense. The issue that I have, if you can even call it that, is that the coverage is just like a shitty shot.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
not. It's not a good composition.
No, it's not.
It's like a weird, very disjointed. Like doesn't make any sense.
It just kind of cuts off like the other character in the front seat, like
yeah,
and the person behind him.
So it's like, was someone not available for filming and they needed to like pick up some stuff? Like what the fuck?
Interesting.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. It still looks and sounds like It's Always Sunny, and that's nice. But yeah, that opening scene was really super confusing to me.
Yeah.
Does it look old?
No, no, it doesn't. It looks nice and new.
Speaking of it looking old, one of my issues with one of my criticisms of It's Always Sunny is actually this is really old. They stopped shooting in the standard definition 3x4 format at the end of season 5, and then after that, it all looks like kind of HD widescreen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't quite feel the same to me. Like even though like those next few seasons still were good, like
It's not gritty sunny.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when you're listening to a band and then they sign a major label contract and they get you know recording studio sound, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh, it doesn't have the same."
Maybe
quality.
that's what was so confusing about that fucking opening scene is that like it just doesn't feel like a shot that would be inside of a Sunny episode.
Yeah.
To have a locked off fucking car shot is so weird. You would think they would shoot it in a car.
Yeah,
or so, like
they have
right, like the lack of handheld. Maybe that's what it was. It wasn't handheld.
No.
It was tripoded or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that was what was so fucking weird about it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, you kind of lose the grit.
You do. Actually, where I really noticed it, so we were rewatching the earlier seasons, and season 6 is where they switch over to the widescreen format. But the end of season 6 has the Christmas special, and the Christmas special was actually shot at the end of season 5, so it goes back to that, and it just looks way better. Like, even though it doesn't look quote unquote better, it looks better for
true
the show.
to form.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something interesting just about art in general is when sometimes, like Eric Andre's show does not look as good in high quality as it does the first couple of seasons when it's like they still try to make it look grainy, but it just did because it was low budget.
Drop that shit down to 1080p, dude.
Yeah.
Well, you can still get the
classic
grit.
Trailer Park Boys scenario.
Yeah.
You can still get the grit. You can still get the gnarliness with just like over compressing things.
Yeah.
Right. You can still get artifacting and like weird digital noise and shit. It's like you can do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And still have a 4K output or whatever, right? So that it's like natively correct for streaming and shit like that or whatever else. But I think that it's like, I don't know. It's probably an exec thing.
Well, they also they weren't planning on that being part of the aesthetic of the show. That's just the camera they were filming with, right?
But
so they get more money.
was though. Specifically, I remember Charlie Day. I remember listening to an interview talk about how he went out and bought that camera specifically because of the look of that camera.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it was like a completely like creative choice on purpose production. Like
It was also the only thing they could afford. early on.
which happened to work out great as well.
Yeah.
But I remember him saying that like he sought that out specifically because of the look of that camera.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also think that I love this show, but definitely like after season 7, it starts to mid out a little bit, which is unfortunate.
There's 9 seasons after
Yeah,
that.
and there's still always like kind of moments throughout all of it that are good, but there's just something that doesn't quite feel.
Well, no. This is the thing. It's Always Sunny is classic television, right? The closing scene of Community gives it perfectly. You have to let television have days off. You have to let television have not as good things. In television, there isn't filler episodes there the same way there is in other forms of media that operates in shows like this, but like they definitely do still exist. And I think that like
What other media has filler?
Animes. They'll have like filler arcs that go away from. This is 10th grade Max who has this knowledge, but yeah, I think that the thing is, it's like once you get into a show, especially that it lasts this long, the fact that it has these bad episodes and stuff like that, it's just character building, and it's kind of like that's part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you have to be okay with it having these bad days because they're making. It's television, you know what I mean? They are throwing out story. I mean, it's like we're gonna make a bad episode.
Consistently strike gold forever.
No.
Yeah, and especially because television is about delving into characters. It's not about necessarily the story like a movie is, right? And so it's like even bullshit is showing you more about the character. You know, it's showing. And so like, yeah, I think that I agree with you. I also that like the later seasons get worse. I also think that like there's some charm into that, and I also think that when they hit because you have 14 seasons of knowledge, and when they say something that is funny because the character said it because you know so much about them, like that is funnier than anything else, you know, because it's like you don't think that's funny unless you watch the whole thing.
I think that's really profound.
Yeah, it's Always Sunny,
and I think that's a great place to probably end it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one tiny little thing.
Perfect.
One tiny criticism of this later season is that in one of the episodes, they go to Charlie Day's apartment and they open up the doors that are in his things, and they fucking waste it. They have 16 seasons of this being a one room apartment, and they have these doors that are blocked off, and then they open up this extra door and it's just this other room, and they don't do fucking anything with it, which maybe is the joke, but it's like not good enough of a joke.
Yeah.
So fucking that's a disappointment.
Yeah, again, if you watch this new season, I think that they have more banger episodes than any of the last couple of seasons, but it is still, it's old TV, you know what I mean? They have I don't, that decision, I actually didn't think about that hard when I saw that. That's interesting.
Well, how about we name this here podcast episode right now? Shane.
Yeah.
What's your idea? It looked like you had an idea.
I was trying to think about some of the good stuff. I would love to highlight Patrick and Dej if we could, but I don't know if you're interested in that, Patrick. We also...
Sure, yeah.
The episode where Patrick and Dej get married.
Patrick and Dej get engaged in Philadelphia.
Patrick and Dej get engaged. It rhymes.
Patrick engaged.
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 Yeah. Deja entendu.
What if it was like Chef Greaseball Linguini gets engaged?
Yes.
Dr. Slice.
Yes.
Dr. Slice and Chef Lingball and Linguini. Lingball.
That's a long ass title.
That is. Well, I think we should stick with maybe Patrick's suggestion there.
I like
I'd
that
just
a
like
lot.
to throw out like there's like FDA ball sweat, something to do with those those subjects.
Fuck, that's really good too.
Yeah. The FDA approved Chef Greaseball Linguini engagement.
Oh my god.
The Linguini engagement.
Oh, maybe that's it.
That's
good. I like
snappy.
that.
That's short.
The Linguini engagement's pretty good. Yeah.
I talked about the Linguini incident a couple weeks ago. It's the movie.
Oh, I see. Well, I am okay with the Linguini engagement.
I think it's wonderful.
Okay.
There it is.
All right.
Well, thanks
Max?
for watching, everyone.
Go ahead and give us a follow on Instagram, Bumpy Soup, Twitter, Bumpy Soup, TikTok, Bumpy Soup. We're on IndieFlix. We're on Patreon. There's an article out there about us. We're going to be at Far Out Fest.
September 2nd.
See you there, bitches.
Look for our stickers around town. And if you see them, send us a picture. If you have any dreams, send them in so Shane can interpret them.
Please.
Yeah.
Please let me. Please allow me.
Yeah, bump it up.
All right.
Bump it up, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening to the Bumpy Soup podcast.
Bye.
Shout out Jeff Vandermeer.